let me tell you a little bit about Citizenserve just briefly. We've been around for 13 years. We got started as a cloud-based or internet service, software as a service solution. We're a subscription, and if you just subscribe to the software and you go to the internet, log in, we're device and browser independent, so you can use the software on an iPad or Android-based tablet or kind of whatever you can get connected to the internet with. Our pricing is pretty simple to figure out. We've got it on our website. Can you see my screen okay?
Can we see your what?
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So you can just go to get a quote here and put in how many users you might have, and it'll pop up what the costs are. There's an annual subscription and then setup. One of the important things to know about our subscription is it includes unlimited support. And the support, we do things like custom reports, ongoing training. You may want to add a permit or change your fees or anything like that. And it's all stuff that you can do yourself through the administrative part of Citizenserve. But a lot of our customers are smaller or medium-sized jurisdictions, and they don't necessarily have the resources to do things a lot of times, and a lot of times they just submit a support request and say, hey, can you do this for me? and our support team will do it. So if you talk to any of our references, they'll probably say wonderful things about our support team. We kind of cover the whole spectrum of community development. So we do any kind of permits, planning and zoning applications, code enforcement, and also any kind of licensing. We do pet licensing, auto registration. In fact, in Washington, I think our only current client up there is the Yakama Nation, and they use us for business licensing and also auto, car registrations on the reservation and stuff like that. So it's kind of we can do a lot of different things with both permits and licensing and code enforcement cases and stuff like that. So that's kind of the brief overview. I think Ray just joined us. Ray, are you on the line?
I did join you.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. Well, I was just going to jump in here. We're kind of focusing on permitting. I guess they have Black Bear now. So let me. I'm going to just jump right in and we'll do a permit. Now, is there an interest in doing the citizen portal where the citizens can apply for permits and pay for permits online, or is that something?
Well, no, I don't think so at this point. What we want to try to get something as a foundation here. So
okay.
At some point we can offer that down the line.
Okay. Well, that's just included with Citizenserve. So some of our customers they get organized in the back office first, and then at any time you can just turn that on and it's available. So it's just included in the subscription. Let me log in here as a person who does permits. And this is the Citizenserve homepage. And basically we kind of cover a couple things here. We've got tasks, if somebody's assigned something to you, say you've got to review a permit, you'll see that here. Things like building inspections, if you've got to go out to the property and meet a contractor or something, that's going to show up under your calendar. And in recent files here, you'll see all the recent files that you've accessed. And then we can set up any kind of metrics you want to set up in the system. And we're in a browser, so we can click on these permit numbers. It'll take us to that permit. We can also click on our metrics here. You can kind of pick the item and kind of see what's behind that, and then you can drill down if you want on the permit. So it's a pretty user-friendly environment. We've got an area here called My Links, which allows you to kind of put things like if you run expired permit notices or if you run certain reports or processes, you can just put those on your home page so that they're easy to get to. All these things can be minimized, maximized, and stuff like that. And we've got some area here for task management. And then if you can, this is your home page, you can rearrange it based on your job function. So you can eliminate some of these items if they're not relevant to you, or you can change the order of these things. So we've also got a quick find up here, which is customizable. You can kind of pick what you want to search on and stuff like that. If you put in like part of an address up here, it'll return the results up here in the quick find area, so you can kind of page through and see what you're looking for, and then click on the actual file or permit that you want to pull up. So, that's kind of another feature that's helpful. If somebody calls you and they throw an address or permit number at you, you can just jump into the quick find there and not leave what you're doing. Let's go ahead and do a permit. So we do, the cases that we do are the file types in Citizenserve. We have a general case file, which is, kind of usually that citizens are asking you to do things. Some people call it request tracking, citizen relationship management, those types of things. We've done really simple requests like, snow removal or trash pickup, and we can also automate more complex citizen cases that involve lots of parties and notices and workflows and stuff like that. So code enforcement cases are, cases that involve, violation, and usually that has to do with ordinances and codes, and you're trying to get the citizen to correct something. So that's sort of what the code enforcement cases are about. Permits and licenses are very similar. Permits, obviously there's a project, it gets completed, it gets closed out, and then a license usually gets renewed. So let's do a permit project. And I'm going to put in, we want to do a home construction. And we have a, spell checking is kind of built into the browser, so, wherever you're typing something in, you'll be able to see that. I'm going to pick that this is a permitting application, and this kind of determines the file type. And so we can actually, based on the file type, we can bring in different property information from the property lookup file or other information into the file. So, sometimes for a code case, it might be certain elements of data, and then for a permitting project, it might be something different. Let's go ahead and I'll put in a part of an address, and we'll just do a search. Now we're going to have your parcel information in a lookup table. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my questions. When you get this program, do you gather up all the parcel information?
Yes.
Parcel numbers?
Yes, and maintaining that is included in the subscription. So maintaining your parcel lookup, ownership information, all that sort of stuff. And also, if you have GIS layers that you want to show in the maps or physical assets that you want to be able to see locations of on the maps, that's included too. So, we kind of, almost everything we do has to do with properties and parcels and things on maps. So we just do that, maintain that data for you as part of the subscription.
Is that maintained on our server?
We maintain the property data on our server, and then we'll update it periodically based on what your needs are. So, some of our customers do it daily, and some of it do it monthly or quarterly.
Okay. And that's all part of the cost?
Yes. So once I picked a property, you can kind of see some icons came up over here. The map icon was already there. Now I can click on that, and this is all throughout, available throughout the system. So I clicked on the map icon, kind of pulls up a map for me. I can kind of see my project, where it's located. We use Google Maps, is what we use to, for the mapping features, and we'll overlay. If you have an Esri server, or we want to pull information out of another GIS server, that's just, we use that information to overlay on top of what's there. and here's some examples. I got a zoning layer here, and I can also look at physical asset information. So if I wanted to go in here and see what's behind the zoning information, I can click on that. So whatever information is associated with that object will kind of come up if you click on it. I can see, you know, if I wanted to see all the water hydrants, I can just pull those up on a map and see that information. So that's, you know, these are things that are available. And we do map reports too for our customers. So we have some built-in map reports. You can use our reporting wizard to create map reports. And you can also ask us to create a custom report for you. And we don't charge for that. So, you know, we figure we're a pay-as-you-go solution, and we figure if we create the report that you really like, you might keep using us, so, and renew your subscription. So there's some other icons over here. One of them is the other files icon, and that's going to show everything that's going on at that property. So if I click on that, I'll be able to see, you know, any other permits that have been pulled or everything that's in the system that's associated with that parcel. Mm-hmm. And then we've got an alerts icon, and you can see here basically any alerts somebody's put on the file. And sometimes that's important. Some of the permitting files get lengthy, and you don't want to have to read through all the notes to discover something that's important. And so, you know, that's what that's for. And you can do the other files icon, and the alerts also work for, you know, contractors, people, and those types of things. So you can put an alert on a person or a contractor, and if you're looking at a contractor, you'll see this other files icon if they're in the system. So basically, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to pick my permit type. Now, when we do your setup, we'll put all your permit types in the system. We set up all your applications, your fees, your outputs, like your certificate of occupancy, all that sort of stuff. And that's just part of the setup. It's pretty much turnkey. You know, we kind of put it all in there for you. And then the support kind of covers changes. You know, if you're like, oh, we want to change something, we'll help you do that or show you how to do it. Either one's good. All right, so what I did so far is I picked my new construction subtype, and this workflow route showed up. Now we can do automatic or manual review routes with the applications, and it's, you know, it's application specific. So you can have a, you know, if you get an electrical permit, you can have a different review route for that. You can have multiple review routes too. A lot of times there's a submittal, and then there's, you know, it gets bumped out, and then there's a resubmittal. So you can have, you know, keep track of multiple submissions and review processes that an application's gone through. And so I'm going to go ahead and just click on Save there. Let's pick an applicant, and automatically we put in the property owner, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pick a contractor here. So I'm going to search my database to see if they're in there. If they're not in there, I can click on Create New Contact, but I'll just pick Acme Construction here. And so that's my applicant now. When we bring in people and associate them with the file, they're going to appear, you know, kind of everywhere. If I want to send an email or generate a letter or, you know, accept a payment, you know, they'll just appear there, so that it's just easy for me to associate them with some activity or action that's happening. So this is the application area, and I'll show you some applications out in the real world. This is a simple application that just calculates the valuation on a ICC table. And the applications themselves, we can put in links to other documents or other systems, which are helpful. We can do drop down. We can do just about anything on the applications, and the application can also be set up to be somewhat dynamic. So I'm just going to put some simple information in here, and I'll pick some trades down here. We can limit your trade choices too. So if you have like, hey, only city-approved plumbers can work on this type of permit, we can do those types of things where you kind of limit the selection for certain fields. And then we we can put required documents or submittal documents really anywhere in the application. So, you know, wherever it makes sense to put those, we can do that. And so I'm going to upload some documents with this, and these all get stored up on Citizenserve, and once they're uploaded, you know, they're available, you know, out in the field on your iPad or whatever. And if I click on this link here, I can quickly go to the information. So let's go ahead and save this. So this is just, we inputted a permit application is kind of what we've done so far. And my permit's saved in here. And I've got a picture, you know, this is the Google Street View picture. You can also change that if you want. If you have something that's more representative of the project that you want to use, you can easily change that picture. So basically what's happened, we took the application, let's take a look at the fees. So evaluation was calculated here, and I can see the math here behind the valuation. We can do stated valuations and calculated valuations. We can also do, you know, set it up so that it's the greater or lesser of the two, and, you know, those types of things. So here's my pretty simple fee calculation for this particular permit. And if I want to take a payment, I can just go to payments down here and click on payments. And if I want to say I got a check at the counter and I got it from ABC Construction, let's say it's just a plan check amount, I'll go ahead and save that. So I save this, and if you want, you can have a document that's a receipt document that you can hand out after you take payments, and I'll just generate a receipt here. And we can do, in the system, we can do any kind of documents. We can do ID cards, placards. We've done pretty much anything. We've done complicated, you know, citation notices that had to look exactly like the court system uses and stuff like that. It's just an HTML editor, any combination of graphics, colors, fonts, layout we can do. You can also edit these documents, you know, so if you're generating a letter and you want to make a slight change or add something to it, you can do that. I'm just going to go ahead and save this. All the documents end up here under the Documents tab. And you can see here the submittal documents and then my receipt. So if I generate an email or a letter, anything that happens, I'm going to have that in my Documents tab. So this review process got kicked off automatically when this application was submitted. So we've got kind of a building department does an initial review, and then we kind of route this through building, fire, engineering, and planning, and then it goes back to building for issuing the permit. So if I go up here to my task list, I can jump in here and go to the very bottom because I don't actually complete anything in the demo world. So and down here I've got my building permit initial review. This is the task that was assigned to me. I'm supposed to make sure this application is complete before we send it off for people to review it. And another thing about Citizenserve is that any of the activities that are created, you can, each user can say, I want to get an email. If somebody assigns an inspection to me, I want an email. And so you can see that here. I got an email saying, hey, you've been assigned a new task in Citizenserve. With inspections, we can also attach a calendar invite so that it'll automatically go on your Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar. There's a built-in device and browser independent calendar in Citizenserve, so you can use that to manage your schedule as well. So let's go ahead and do this. If I click on the permit, it's going to take me to the permit. If I click on the activity or the task that's been assigned to me, it'll take me to that task. And so this is very common in Citizenserve, where we're going to have an activity, and we can have any kind of activity types in Citizenserve, inspections, review types, and stuff like that. And we can create forms where, sometimes it's a checklist, sometimes it's more detailed, sometimes it's just pass-fail. And this is just a simple checklist that's, hey, make sure that this application is complete. Now, if I didn't get the landscape plan and I want to communicate with the contractor and say, hey, I need your landscape plan, I can just click on the email icon here. Now I can do a letter, I can generate a letter template, or I can do an email. And I'm going to do an email, and I'll send out a incomplete application email, and I'll click ... here, and this shows me all the people that are involved in the project, the review team and the external parties. And I'm going to go ahead and just click on my contractor here. Now I can attach documents to this, and if I click on Add Documents, it's going to show me everything that's in the file. So I can say, hey, I'm going to send my receipt with this. Now, if I select external files, I can attach things that are on my computer or my tablet or something like that. So, but let's just attach my receipt, and I'll go ahead and send this. And so this sends off this template email, and let's take a look at that. This is the template that we send out, and it's basically, we kind of integrate the information from the activities into the templates so that, it's pretty simple. You can just fill out the form, click on email, and, communicate with the customer what's needed to get to the next step. And so that's sort of that. And so let's say that the contractor gave us the information we were required, and we can go back to our review process here and open that activity, put in a completion date, and say that it's done, and then we'll go ahead and save that. And so what that does is it kind of moves things along to the next person who's in charge of taking a look at this application. And here we've got a plan review activity. Let's click on that. And so let's say I had to, I was doing this plan review activity. I can go in here and actually use a comment book. And so we have a kind of an ability for you to put common corrections, common comments, and categorize them. And then, go in and actually select the ones that you want to put in. I'll deselect a couple of these. We'll save this. I can add some additional comments. And click on Save. And so now, basically what I've got here is, just a common comments list that I can have in my review. I can put in my completion date, maybe, and say I approved it. I can approve with conditions too if I want. And then at this point, I can send out an email. Let's say I wanted to do some markup first. I can go in and save this activity. And so my plan review activity is in here, and my comments are kind of showing up here. But I wanted to show you another feature that we've got, which is basically if I wanted to go in here and mark up one of the submitted documents, I can click on the markup tool, which again is a device-independent, browser-independent tool. You don't have to download anything to use it. And I can go in here and actually make some comments. And I can associate my text comments with my markup, and then there can be multiple reviewers and comments and stuff like that. And so I can kind of put in some. And I can also do some calibration if I want to. If I wanted to do some measurements, I can measure some stuff and I can put my comments in there. So you can kind of go through the text comments and kind of see what comments are made on the document. And I'll save this, and when I save it, it changes this to red. And, so I know that there's some comments behind that. We're not changing the source document. We're just sort of painting a canvas over it. And so that's, there's no changes. And what we'll see here is I'll go back to my review, and I'm going to click on my plan review here, and I'm going to send out a template email, a plan review report to the contractor. And I can add attachments, and let's say I want to add my elevations document. So it's going to ask here if I want to attach my markups or not. And so I can attach my markups, all the markups, or do not. And I'm just go ahead and say I'm going to do the attach my markups. And this is going to send out that attachment with my review comments. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to my email address. I can also do a read receipt, and it'll come back to my email if I choose to do that. So basically, that's sort of the review process that you can do in Citizenserve. I've got my plan review report here that I just sent myself, right? And so this basically is the same thing we were kind of looking at before. We've kind of taken the template, and we've taken information out of the activity and put that into sort of an email communication, and then I can pull up my markups here, and I can kind of see that information too. So that's the review process, and so if, eventually we get through the review and we approve the permit, and over here we would generate a building permit, and I'll click on that. And so what we can do within the system is we can also do, for all the official documents, we can do conditions. And so that's basically, hey, we're going to check on the file to see if something's wrong with it. And we can have a manual or a kind of a mandatory stop situation, or we can do a warning, and you can go ahead and print it anyways. And these are just examples, but we can check almost really anything in the database. Is there a problem with a contractor? Is there a problem with a property? Those types of things. Were all the inspections or all the reviews really completed? And so here's a kind of an example permit. We do a lot of different permit layouts. Some of them are pretty elaborate and have inspection sign-offs and stuff out for the job site. And this is just an example. We can incorporate both dynamic and static signatures on documents. So if you want to put the signature of the person generating the document on there, we can do that. And of course, we can do just a static signature too. Let's go ahead and save this. So I saved my permit, and here's all my my plan review reports here, and my building permit is right here. And so let's say that we wanted to do an inspection now. I'm going to jump over here to inspection, and this is an option in Citizenserve where you can show alerts on the property if you're sending somebody out to the property. So that's what this is. It's sort of a, and I'm going to go ahead and just pick footing inspection because it's got a checklist. And so this is for this inspection type, this is just a custom checklist or form. And these can be, as I mentioned before, they can be pretty elaborate. They can be as elaborate as our applications. And we can have areas in there that go link to other systems. We can have documents that you're required to upload as part of the form that needs to get filled out. But let's just go ahead and assign this to somebody. And here I'm just going to assign this to Jason Todd, and I'll just say that we're going to do it at 3 o'clock today, 3 to 4. And so I would see if there were other inspections on the calendar of the inspector I selected, and I can also do a multi-view. So if there's more than one inspector, I can see all the inspectors' calendars on that. So I'm going to go ahead and save this because I kind of scheduled it, and so it's in here, and it shows up on my calendar here. And so what we're going to do, so I'm going to switch over to my iPad, and we can say that we're out in the field and we're on our iPad and we wanted to complete this inspection. I'm going to switch to my camera here. And so I got my iPad here, and hopefully it'll come into focus. Dun, 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 dun. There you go. And so this is my iPad, and I can go down here to my footing inspection, and I'm just going to click on the footing inspection there. And so this pulls up the form that I need to fill out in the field. So let's say I'm going to complete this inspection. I'll put in today. And I'll say that this is a pass. Now you'll notice that the drop-down list box is a little different on the iPad. So, you know, it's kind of the tablet version of that control that we're looking at. And so it kind of makes it easier for us to kind of go through and fill this out. And I'll say all these things pass. And I can take pictures on my iPad and attach things to the inspection if I want. I can also use the microphone out in the field. The footings are all backwards and upside down and crooked. And it works pretty good. You know, the text-to-speech on the devices today, it's actually pretty excellent. And I can go ahead, if I want, I've got my contractor standing right there. I can just click on email. And, okay, I'm going to send my guy the inspection report. And I've got his email in here. And click on the email address. And if I want to add attachments, I can add attachments to this, and I click send. So that sends out the inspection report to the contractor. And so let's jump out of the camera here, and I'll go back over here to my main screen, and we can jump back into this permit if we want. And we can see under documents the inspection report that was generated. And again, what we're doing here is we're putting in, you know, the information from the activity into our communication with the contractor. So that's kind of the inspection process. I mean, we do the inspections a lot of different ways, depending on how the customer wants to do it. You know, sometimes, you know, in the review process, there's a review activity that's, you know, hey, pick the required inspections for this particular permit. Sometimes we put the permit, the inspections list on the actual permit. What are the required inspections? Sometimes we pre-populate the inspection tab here with the required inspections. So we do it, you know, everybody kind of wants to do that differently. And so after we're done doing our inspections and the project's finished, you know, we do a, you know, certificate of occupancy, and here's a, you know, more conditions for this document, or different conditions. And here's a CO. Now this is a, you know, it's a fairly complex looking document, and you know, and that there's some graphics and stuff. If I wanted to edit this, I just click on edit. I can go down here if I wanted to add I can add, you know, some notes in there if I wanted to add some notes. So it's pretty easy to, you know, edit the documents, even though some of them can be pretty complicated. And I'll just click on save there. And so that gets stored in the documents tab with everything else. So I kind of looked at the permits. This is the review process here. We talked about that. I can add additional review routes just by clicking on an add route. Inspections show up under inspections. The context here is, this is kind of a list of everybody involved in the project. I can directly send emails if I want from the system. I can see other files that they're associated with.
Before you go any further, can you map out your inspection on a map?
Yes, you can. If I go to,
Give me a sequence.
so we can do a custom report for you that actually does that. I think that
right, for the day and map it on the map.
How would you do that?
I think if this display on a map here, this should have my appointments on it. So let's see if it's got anything. Okay, so I do have my. So this is. I just clicked under my calendar. I clicked on display my inspections, and so that's what this is. Kind of a. So that's kind of available. So if you want to see all your inspections for today, you can just click on the map icon there,
Yep.
and it'll show up. So, but we also, we've done like routing reports. Like if you wanted to, see the most efficient route, based on what Google thinks, we can do that too.
Hey, Jim?
Yes.
Is there a way to print, like, let's say you do the footing and you do sheething and insulation drywall and then you get a final. Is there a way to print all the inspections out on a report for the property file, like when you're done and complete?
We do have in the system, there is a feature, like if I'm looking at a permit, you can go down to this reports, and if you click on custom, it kind of shows you everything that has gone on with this permit, and you can basically select individual things, like inspections or reports or stuff like that, or you can go up here and say select all, and you can basically print out a report. Most of the time it's our code enforcement customers that use this. They might forward something off to the court system or something like that. But if I click on submit, it should create this report for me, and it looks like it's downloading some of the documents. But so I can kind of see everything that's gone on. I can take this and put it in a PDF. You kind of print it to a PDF, and then I can, to somebody or, do stuff like that. So
it will have the inspection sign-offs on them?
Well, yeah, we could have the inspection reports on there. Mm-hmm. So, are you talking about?
Yeah, there they are, right there. Okay.
Yeah, that's the inspection report. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
we can print off all the inspections, and so we can put them in a property file. So.
Yes.
At final of the project.
Yeah. You could print out a whole file is basically, everything that happened on that. And you can, store that or do whatever you want. We never actually delete any data. So, it's it'll be in Citizenserve as long as you're a subscriber.
Okay.
So that's kind of a little bit on permitting. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We've got a pretty sophisticated sort of search thing here. You can kind of search on properties, owner names, company contractor names, permits, types of permits, types of licenses. We can also, when we do custom fields, like for the applications, you can select those and say that you want them to be searchable. So that's kind of cool. Under reports, we do I mentioned before, we do custom reports for our customers. Here's like a permits issued on a map. Let me expand this a little bit here. And so we do map reports, we can do pie charts, we can do graphs. We can do, you know, pretty much anything. You can export reports to Excel. When we do the reports, like say this is a map report, I can click on this permit, and it's going to pull it up over here in my other tab. So you can drill down on, you know, list of permits, and you can kind of see what's going on, and then, you know, go back to your list and click on another.
Let me ask you a quick question. Why are you in Pismo Beach?
Oh, Pismo's one of our customers.
I used to be the building official in Lompoc.
Okay.
Which is just south of there.
Okay, yeah, Pismo.
And I know the people in Pismo.
Yeah, they've been a customer since 2011. And then Arroyo Grande is a customer too.
Right.
And
they're right next to each other.
Yeah, they were both using a custom Fox Pro application. You know, so and we've done a lot of.
Do you know the building official there?
I did. I think he's not. I don't know if he's there. John Biggs, or I'm trying to think of who was the person that we worked with at the time.
Okay. Anyway, I'll find out.
Yeah, I can get that. Hold on, give me a second. I'll get that.
Okay.
So in the real world, if we go, I'm gonna. This is Spanish Fork, Utah, and this is the building official in Spanish Fork, Utah. And so I just wanted to show you really quick what a permit in the real world. So this is a new single-family home, and hopefully this is issued. Okay, so this has been issued, and so here's this is the and you can see this has got an alert on it. So there's an alert on this permit, and then this is the application for a new single family in Spanish Fork, Utah, and you can see here that it's more complicated than our example. We've got our contractors, some building data. Here's some helpful links, built right into the application, so we can see those. And then they have just one button for submittal documents here, and so they kind of can upload as many documents as you want. So Spanish Fork is very active using the portal, so they get most of their applications online. And this is their fees. So this is more common. This is for a single family. You got your impact fees and your state surcharges and all that sort of stuff. And that's all. When we set the fees, there's no complicated. We don't program this. We have like a fee table where we can set up the rules for the fees, and here's their payments, and it looks like these were both paid with a credit card online. So if we look at their permit, just so you can kind of see sort of what we do, we start with a blank sheet of paper, and here's what they did with their permit. The first page is kind of project information, right? And the second page is required inspections. And then the third page is sort of really a financial summary of the fees. So, if I do a print preview and kind of see how it lays out, that's their page 1, page 2, page 3. So I think their inspection reports are pretty simple. They're kind of just pass-fail type of thing. And then in contacts here, you can kind of see this is, these are the people involved in this particular project. And you can click on the other files here. And some of these guys are obviously home builders. So, and then if I click on reviews, so this is good. This kind of shows you that we had a residential plan review that got kicked off, and And then community development said resubmission required, right? So then we had kicked off a new route when the application came back in, and it was approved, and then the permit got issued. And in the history tab, you can see here everything that's happened with this permit. When documents were attached, when activities happened, when things were assigned. It's really kind of, our history is kind of like a complete, detailed, life of the permit. If you're interested in that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be able to track if anybody's inputted anything into the file, who's altered anything, or so on.
Yeah. So, and it looks like he's got kind of his reports here, advanced reports, custom reports. The standard reports in Citizenserve, we got like a proximity search where you can pull up all the properties, if you're doing a public notice or something like that. There's some other reports in here, like completed activities by user. We can kind of look at what they've been doing all month. And this is just a pie chart, so you can kind of see, who's done what in the activity world here. And then we've got, permits, I'm not sure what that is. So here's an expiring permits list. We'll see what's expiring this month. Most of our customers really just kind of send us, our support team, hey, this is what I want, and the support team will put the report together for them. So, but you can also, use the standard reports. Now, the reporting wizard is actually pretty slick. If I don't want to do a report here, is John. Let me go back into the.
Well, I can create my own reports.
Yes, if our support team can do them for you, but if I wanted to go in here and do create a report, I click on create report. Let's say we just want to create let's say expired permits on a map or something like that. And I'm going to save it in my report, or map reports. I'll save it in my map reports folder. I'm saying I want a map, and I'm doing this I want permit information. So we kind of put the information together for you. And I'm going to say I want my permit information. And I want my permit number and permit type, work description, and I want expiration date. Okay, so let's say that's all we want there. And then I'll pick, I'm going to say that I want my expiration date that's greater than, I don't have a whole lot of issued permits in here, so I'm going to just pick that. And then I'm going to sort this, have the legend and the map be by permit type. So let's do that. Now, this is going to save this, and I can rerun it whenever I want, and I can change the date and stuff like that. So here's my map report, and here's my legend. I went off of permit type, and then I can, click on these, and it'll, again, this is, we can drill down, click on that permit, it'll pull the permit up over here, and I can see the information. So that's the wizards. We set up the wizard kind of as an end user reporting tool. You don't really need to know anything about the database or the underlying structure of things. You just need to know hey, I'm looking for permit numbers and expiration dates, and that's it. So.
And you can have files. Notice little ticklers when things are about to reminders for the permit technician that things are going to expire. when you
Yes,
open up?
we can. We can do that. A lot of times, what our customers do is like you'll have down here in my links, you'll just have something that's like a list of whatever you're concerned about, expiring permits, permits that are expiring in the next 30 days, and then sometimes the task stuff's kind of up here. Hey, I have 188 overdue tasks right here, and I can click on that and I can see them all. I can see like, hey, I have in this particular example, I have an unassigned activity queue, so I can kind of see, hey, this is an inspection, it hasn't been assigned yet. So we can do a lot of different things to manage, what typically for licensing and permitting is, oftentimes it's a pretty complex workflow. So. So any questions?
Well, I think we've been kind of going along, and this is pretty typical. I used Track It when I was in the city of Lompoc, if you're familiar with it. And it's a pretty intuitive kind of thing. It takes you a few days to get up to speed on it. But it was much like this. This has a lot of functions as well. So I'm pretty familiar with it. And I used, I can't think the name of it offhand, in the city of Fillmore, which was, I think it was kind of a dinosaur compared to these. This new methods of exposure. Now, with the link from GIS to parcels and all of that, it's come quite a long ways. That Bear, is that linked to parcels?
That's how it was brought in. Yeah, you have to pull them from the county.
Okay, all right. So anyway.
Yeah, we can on your Black Bear stuff. We can migrate that data and put that in Citizenserve so you have all your historical information. And we've done that a couple dozen times. So we're just because they were pretty big in the smaller jurisdictions. They had a lot of customers and then they kind of just disappeared. So. A lot of people are kind of wanting to get off of that because it's not supported by newer technologies and stuff. So
yeah. So let me ask you, was it typically the case the data it was stored on site with Black Bear? It would be on our server.
Well, we're a cloud-based solution, so the data is all in our data centers. So
no, I know that. I'm talking about Black Bear.
With Black Bear, it's just going to be on your server.
Okay.
Yeah, so we would just get
the raw data is on our server.
Yeah, we would just get a backup of the database, the physical database itself, and that's what we would convert from.
I got you. Mm-hmm. Okay, what kind of setup time do you usually look at?
For just doing permitting, in a smaller jurisdiction, it's 2 or 3 months. That's kind of with the data conversion. So.
And let me ask you, once you have that basic footing in, it's not that more difficult to bring other things online with it, or what maybe other ties to other departments maybe. Or it's just
it's once you start using it, if you want to add code enforcement, we can do that. Yeah. Or business licensing, and the way we do it is just based on the user. It's not user subscriptions. It's not based on modules. So if you add another functional area, the only cost you're going to have is the additional users and their setup and training. And then you won't, if you wanted to have access to the code enforcement, read only or full access, it's just going to be there. You'll be able to use it if you've got rights to it.
Oh, read only.
Yeah. So you can look
and the same with like the citizen access pages that we talked about earlier. It's included, and just by the fact that we're putting your business your building permits in. I mean, they're available to see online, almost immediately. So, it doesn't take us a lot of time to do that because it's all the same app. It's not like it's a different application or something.
The reason why I'm trying to integrate other departments or other activities is because of we can pull money from those sources to pay for the software and the licensing. So if we're working other departments, such as a seat for Public Works Department, Water, for them doing plan review, they'd have to have a seat to be able to actively plan review when we route out for submittals.
Correct.
And similarly to I don't know, some other department, sewer or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
So,
if you're gonna want them assigned tasks and being able to have them sign off that their tasks are complete, it could be in any department.
And they'd be able to review the plans as they were brought up, because we
right.
a lot of times in larger projects we'll get a submittal, initial submittal by email or some other source, but electronically, so we can route it to them and they can absolutely put their comments on just like you showed us. So the whole idea with that is to be able to spread the cost over all these departments rather than just building department.
Yep, we could do that.
Do you have any questions there, Nettie?
How many user licenses? I mean, just ballpark. Were you guys thinking about?
Well, 2 to begin with. But if I can integrate the for plan review, it could be a couple more, and that's why I was talking about having the other departments. We'd have to pull it out of their budgets to cover their costs. So.
Yep.
But
and we can add those users at any.
We
can add a user. We can add a user at any time. Just we'll normally just prorate that depending on how far into that annual subscription you are, and then they'll just be on your your renewal that final year. So it's really easy for us to add users. Not a big thing at all.
All right. Well, it looks like if we can push this through a supervisor and get them on board with it. We had a preliminary talk about it, so it isn't going to be.
And you put in all the fees and everything for mechanicals and plumbing and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
From our fee schedule.
From our fee schedule, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So do you guys want me to send you kind of something a little more formal of a quote with all the prices and stuff in that?
Yeah, if you would.
Okay.
I appreciate it. And give me that, and in that email, give me that contact information for, I think his name was John, that was with Aurora Grande. I'm not sure. A big guy.
Aurora Grande. I don't know about, do you know about, I didn't look at Aurora Grande. It was, Don Moore was at Pismo.
Oh, Don Moore in Pismo Beach, yeah. Right.
He's not there anymore.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, Don Moore's not there anymore, and then Tom, the new building inspector, his name is Tom Bosch.
Oh.
Basch. I can get that over to you too.
Okay, no problem. Well, terrific. All right. Well, I'll follow up with them too and see how they're handling it.
So plans can come online too with this
Planning.
plan instead of at the counter. People can submit them online. Plans.
Oh, plans. Building plans.
Or is this just issuing, putting permits in?
We could. We talked about the Citizen Access Page portal. If that's something that it already comes with the subscription, if that's something that you wanted to do, then your contractors or your citizens could submit those plans online.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
They could, huh? Yeah.
Could. Yep.
Because they all come over the counter, of course, because we don't have, yeah.
But what we don't want to be stuck with is printing them.
No. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to route to different departments for their signatures, they're going to just come in and look at the plan, so they wouldn't probably pay for a seat because they're going to come to your desk and look at the plan. Why would they need to have stuff?
Because I'm trying to get them to pay for it.
So Ray, I think the building official in Arroyo Grande is Jonathan Hurst.
Yeah, it is Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay, and do they use it or no?
I know Arroyo Grande, yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, they use this for. It looks like they have about 20, 25 users. And they use this for business licensing, building, engineering, maintenance services, and planning.
Yeah, great.
Neighborhood services too. So.
Excellent. I don't know. You know, I was looking for software when I was in Fillmore, and I don't know why I didn't come across Citizenserve. I have no idea, but anyway, I'm glad I have it while I'm up here in Washington. So.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. I'll get something to you guys with kind of a little more formal quote, so you can run that.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. You bet.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.